You're listening to a Meatsmith Harvest. This is the podcast that encourages and equips you to grow your home around the harvest. Welcome, Meatsmiths. This dialogue picks up where we left off in our last episode's conversation. You can find part 1 on our website, YouTube, or iTunes. If the content resonates with you, please consider supporting our team by going to patreon.com/Meatsmith and donating a small monthly pledge. This goes directly toward more free media headed your way. Thanks for staying tuned for part 2. There's also some other things you've been doing this spring.
Mm-hmm.
I can think of a couple things that have been occupying your time. But we were just talking about ruminants. Tell us about your goats, your baby goats.
Oh, yes. So
experience.
It's spring, which means, or it's not spring, it's almost spring. Which I think tends to mean that the dairies, the small dairies, are bursting with young animals.
Mm-hmm.
And Stella Maris Creamery, also previously known as Burton Hill.
They did a brand change.
Farm and Creamery. And they're a goat dairy. And they have beautiful white goats that they milk. It's a family-run dairy. And they make cheese from the wonderful milk. And they also raise pigs from the whey left over from the making of the cheese.
That's right. And you slaughter them. And
and crazy delicious pigs and very delicious cheese. They have a smoked blue cheese that is just, it's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
Yeah.
All of their cheeses are good. But StellaMarisFarm.com, I think will get you there.
Did they change their website name?
Yes, if you search that, it will redirect to them.
Yeah, okay. We've linked to them in the past lots of times.
They're at farmers markets also in South Seattle area, I think. And Lakewood and such. Mm-hmm. But I think he's at 70 goats right now. Because all of his does just freshened, as it were. They all kidded. They were all impregnated at around the same time by his small coterie of bucks that he has on the property. And so they all kidded at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, within the space of like 2 weeks, I think.
That's what he said,
literally fields of goat kids.
Yeah.
Crazy cute.
It's quite a sight.
Yeah, it's all, white, long-legged, little short-coupled goat kids everywhere.
Like 44 of them. Actually, not like.
Yeah, or more.
To be precise, well, Amelia told
that's
me.
right. She knows the exact number.
44.
Yeah.
That's how many little baby kids.
And I'm sure it's increased since we saw her last night.
Yeah.
There could be a dozen more.
That's true, yeah.
And it's this often neglected and seldom known part of dairy economy, small dairying economy. What are you going to do with all those goat kids? He does not have the capacity to milk, we could take half, 23 of those goat kids if they were all females. Mm-hmm. I think his herd is pretty much where he wants it. He's maybe adding a few more, keeping a few more, but he also can't just afford to feed them.
Right. He's not interested in just growing them out and eating them later.
And they're all dairy goats. So they're made for milk production, which means they're going to be lean and tall and skinny. Mm-hmm. And it's delicious meat. There's just not a lot of it. Mm-hmm. It's mostly bone and udder. That's what they do. Mm-hmm. So what's a dairyman to do? And you look at traditional cultures, and they were slaughtering doe-eyed, cute baby animals in mass quantities.
Yeah.
You harvest them, is what you do. Mm-hmm. And you have to admit to yourself that you kill and eat little baby goats and little baby cows. And if you buy cheese, you are culpable of the death of the cutest baby animals you have ever seen. every year.
Well,
must happen.
Yeah.
And might as well, at least eat some of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I've been doing. I've been slaughtering. I slaughtered some goat kids.
Yeah.
Little tiny guys, not even a week old. And you could do it earlier. They'll fit in your oven. Mm-hmm. They're kind of like long-legged rabbits. Mm. It's some of the finest liver I've ever had. Is a goat kid liver.
That's right.
It's about the size of a duck. Duck livers change size all the time. But, it's a little liver. Mm-hmm. It is so delicious. It's not funny. It's so good.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so mild. It's wonderful.
We actually took pictures of it one time.
Yeah, I think it's in the intro film, the intro short to our Harvest Film videos on the membership.
I'll see if we can put some of those pictures up during one of the breaks.
But goat kid liver, it's so good.
Yeah.
Very tender, very pale, tender, wonderful meat. Mm-hmm. Very good. And one of the ways that it's been harvested historically is scalding and scraping, or scalding and plucking, or pulling hairs out. And I got to do that this time. I didn't, for whatever, I think I was always harvesting goats at the end of a day, so I wasn't ready to try new methods. I was ready to be done and go home. But this time I did. I scalded them at about 145 degrees for, barely a minute and a half. Pulled them out, and then the hair just slips off.
Wow. And
it is like a pig. So it shares with the pig the strategy of scaldery, which is don't over scald.
Okay.
It's not that hotter for longer just makes it come out easier. It's not that. Actually, that will make it worse. Mm-hmm. The hair will affix closer, tighter to the meat, to the hide, and it will start to break down the hide. So as you're trying to pull on the hair, which requires more force to remove now, you're pulling up hide. You're pulling up bits of skin, which is not ideal, but there's a sweet spot. And basically the rule is keep it at about 145 degrees Fahrenheit and check it frequently. Mm-hmm. And the moment it starts coming, meaning tug on the hair frequently. And when it slips off easy, get the whole carcass out of the water and pluck away.
So did you use your fingers or?
I did a lot of fingers. I also used a chicken plucker.
Oh, right.
Because they will fit right in that thing.
Because you were doing poultry that day.
I was doing poultry that day. The setup was right there. The goats were right there. So I scalded them in the chicken scalder and plucked them in a chicken plucker. Mm-hmm. And I still did a little bit of pinchy finger hair removal. But they look beautiful. It makes so much sense because they already have such a small amount of meat relative to their skeleton. They're just little guys. Some of them have barely even begun eating anything other than mama's milk.
Yeah.
They're still just nurslings. Grass. Yeah.
That's kind of actually the genesis of rennet, right?
Right, which is the genesis of cheese.
Because their stomachs don't have grass in them yet.
Right.
Theoretically. So that's where they would get the rennet from.
They're still cheesivores.
Yeah.
Cheese-making factories, those little guys. They're not ruminating and breaking down cellulose yet. Mm-hmm. They start to jumpstart that, by nibbling mommy's hair and nibbling hay with mom and grass. And eventually their whole digestive system shifts. And what has been the primary source of metabolism, their rennet stomach, shifts to a different stomach.
Right.
Where they have this huge fermentation chamber. And now they're full-on ruminants, chewing the cud and everything. Mm-hmm. But before that, they only eat cheese. All milk is destined for rennet. All milk is designed to be cheese. That's its final cause. And for babies.
So what does the final carcass look like? I mean, is
it's
the head on?
It's beautiful. The head on.
Okay.
The toenails pop. The hooves are intact. The toenails pop off.
Oh.
You have beautiful little goat hooves.
Oh, wow.
For the clearest consommé you could ever make, I'm sure.
Wow. The hide is on.
The hide is on.
And do
so you cook
eat
it
that?
with the hide. Yes.
You would eat the hide.
But it's very thin and it's spotless. It's beautiful.
So would it crackle?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I've never done it, but pretty darn sure.
We should do that this spring.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know a guy.
Right?
He's got some goat kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think every time I see him, he's like, if you want any goat kids. So,
Yeah.
we should do that.
Yeah.
Just go grab a few, scald and pluck them, and we'll roast them up.
Yeah.
So delicious.
It's kind of a neat economy on the island here when you think about it, because you regularly process for the farm that sells a lot of fresh meat to the markets. He doesn't raise his own goats, though, because he's not really a dairyman. He has been in the past, but it's not what he's doing now. But another gentleman is a dairyman on the island, but he doesn't really sell meat on the island or to markets, but he does sell cheese, and those markets might markets might not mix. I don't know. Maybe for some reason he doesn't want to sell the goat kids himself. Yeah. So he sells the kids.
Well, he'd have to get him USDA.
Oh, that's right. That would have to be
He does that with the pigs. He gets some of them USDA slaughtered, so he'll sell those at the markets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's a neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to find avenues. It's the burden of abundance. And 44 goat kids is definitely a burden.
They're cute and all,
So
but
super cute and super delicious.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's again, it is the same equation if you eat cheese.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's as if you kill a beautiful little doe-eyed goat kid.
It's true. We don't think about that part of it.
Yeah. Because
But the milk production is only because of the baby production.
That's right. That's what it is oriented towards.
Yeah. So what's happening to those babies? And then sometimes they are not treated humanely.
No. Just thrown in a pit and buried or burned. Yeah.
Or worse, right? I mean, some of the veal factories.
Yeah, they'll put them in little calf igloos, calf hutches, and they'll feed them a replacer. For a veal market.
Right.
Yeah, they're treated like a waste product.
Yeah.
A byproduct of dairying.
Yeah.
Because their primary, what they really want is the milk.
Yeah.
So.
But this is an entirely different thing. I mean, these kids are treated really, really nicely.
Oh yeah.
For the few weeks that they're alive. How old are they? When less than 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, I don't think I did. Yeah, he's only been kidding for about 2.5 weeks, and so none of them are older than 2 weeks that I've slaughtered.
I wanted to ask about the sheep slaughter that you did earlier.
Oh yes, I did one this morning.
Today, how did that go?
Did two. It was kind of sad.
Really?
Yeah, these were sometimes I slaughter animals, but sometimes I'm a scavenger of animals.
That's right.
I'm trying to make the best of generally a wasted harvest. And this one was unfortunate. This was 2 ewes. At first it was 3, who were attacked by a neighborhood dog. So we think, a dog. It's got to be a dog. After eviscerating them, that's what it looks like to me. But man, they were just brutalized by this thing. One more, so basically their legs were destroyed. It was a bummer. Their legs were, their shanks. This dog was latching on to its legs.
Just nibbling on their legs.
And, well, yeah.
Not nibbling.
Crunching down and holding on,
Oh, yeah.
And so their back legs and their front legs were just, their shanks were lacerated and destroyed and completely bloodshot. And then they would go for the neck, which makes me think it's a dog. Because they were big. They were big sheep. They were ewes. They're like 7-year-old ewes. Big, healthy, big girls. And such a bummer. And I think it is either canine or feline, because a bear just kind of starts eating them. And I'm pretty sure we don't have before trying to go for the neck. But there was lots of attempts at unsuccessful. at going for the neck with these guys.
Well, there's no cougar on the island right now, right?
I don't think there's a cougar. That's why I think it's just dogs.
Yeah. Occasionally we get a cougar for like a season, and then it swims back over.
Well, yeah, or they shoot it because
oh, okay,
the Vashonites scream and are scared of cougars. So this was, I think it was a dog attack.
Okay.
And, it's always a hard decision but I think the farmer made the right decision. I was, because you don't really know until you get underneath the wool to see what's going on in there. Because the wool
it was thick.
It's body armor in a way, and I know that's why the dog couldn't deliver the kill. Maybe also because he was a ding-dong and didn't know how to, which is likely. But, and because they had all that armor around their neck, I mean, you think of the thickness of a wool on a sheep's neck. But had they might have survived, but without walking for a long time. Their legs were just so beat up. Their bones are, well, I'll actually know officially when I butcher them, but they're still intact. They're not broken, but their musculature was just eviscerated. In which case, if they would have recovered, they would have taken a very long time and shrunk significantly, in their condition and everything. So it's always a hard call as a farmer what to do with that. But I think it was a good move to harvest them. So beware of feral dogs. Once they get out and they get the confidence of other dogs running around in a rural area, they start to think they're wolves and that they need to hunt stuff. And they'll go after livestock. And these sheep bore the brunt of that. And the farmer did kill one of them before I got there, because it was just, I think it had neck skin that was just complete neck hide that was ripped off.
Oh, okay.
And not doing well at all.
Yeah.
So
it happened over the weekend, so
yeah.
And today's a Monday, so just yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting it makes sense, the more I think about it. It had to have been dog, because when you watch them nature documentaries, the wolves, they chase, and it's a battle of attrition. They're just wearing out the ruminant, and then they bring it to the ground. And this was all by biting the legs, like blue heelers. That's kind of the way that they drive cattle.
Right.
That's an instinctual thing that they have that we have mitigated through selection in certain breeds to make them herders rather than hunting killers. And all four legs that were really the target of this dog's attacks.
Yeah. So they never got into the stomach cavity?
No.
Okay.
There were punctures on the back. Man, they did get bites, They made punctures here and there, but it was definitely targeting the forelegs. Right at the shank, right where the leg meets the body.
That is the sheep's
to immobilize
only
them.
defense.
Yeah, immobilize, I guess.
Yeah. So what are you going to end up doing with the meat?
Probably, it's going to be sausage. Is what they want, which makes sense. Because so much of it is bloodshot, I'll have to discard it, and so it's not going to make the best.
Right.
Like the leg of lamb is not.
Right.
It's not really there.
It's not going to make like clean geometrical cuts.
No.
Yeah.
Because of the bloodshot meat. So.
Yeah. But there's a lot of it too.
There's a lot of it.
There's a lot of fat.
Big girls. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good looking sheep. Yeah. So that was me playing scavenger, which is not nearly as bad as when disease gets an animal and then I'm called, or just old age. That's the worst.
Then you're just the knacker.
That's right. Yeah, the neckerman.
Right.
Yeah, and because that's truly actually grotesque, I guess, in a technical way. It's gross. This was sad.
Yeah.
This was very sad and looked very painful. But an animal that's rotting while it's still alive is what terminal illness looks like in a body, and that's really gross. It's not edible, so that's usually a failure. Like, why are you calling me? We just need to end this.
Yeah.
We shouldn't eat this. Yeah, but it's just it's a reminder that the worst possible way to die is not at my hand if you're an animal.
Right.
I mean, the best thing for you, I can say unequivocally, if you are a beast and you're listening to this podcast, is that I would harvest you. I would kill you. Really, the other options are super bad. They're real bad. It's not cool.
Yeah.
Either, from predator, and they're going to bite your legs off, and then maybe go for the kill, which is going to be suffocation / exsanguination while you're being held down by the jaws of other animals. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. Or if an omnivore gets a hold of you, he'll just start eating you before he kills you. And so I think that, there's the worst way to go for an animal is to be hunted through disease or old age, or at the hands of a overly compassionate person. And that's, I mean that like technically.
Yeah.
And maybe compassion isn't the right word, but...
No, we've talked about that in the past.
Feeling with. Yeah, I don't think you can, in the moment, it's no good for the sheep to try to identify with their pain. You need to focus on your job.
You need to be fully rational.
Yeah. And I say that also from experience. People that want to feel with the animal cause the animal suffering. Yeah. I know this. Yeah. Seen it many times. And it's a weird thing. You kind of have to come to grips with yourself as you need to engage this and kind of put yourself on the back burner. Stop thinking about yourself and do this well for the animal's sake. Because it's ironically, maybe not, but to feel deeply for the animal by conjuring up this empathy is not good for the animal. In my experience, I've never really seen that work for their good. Ends up being lots of sawing, lots of timidity, sawing motions. Is what I mean.
I got ya. Yeah.
Weak-handed sawing motions, and timidity is not a virtue when it comes to, or reticence is not a virtue when it comes to killing your food. You have to be decisive and deliberate. Yeah. For the sake of the victim. Yeah. Of the animal.
How many people do you know you would say truly share your back to the land values? Or your passion for home-scale craft meat curing? Or simply love the multifaceted beauty of a good meal as obsessively as you do? Maybe a handful? At FarmsteadMeatsmith.com, we've created an online community of hundreds of omnivores from around the world and a platform for them to learn from and inspire one another. In addition to our major semi-annual hands-on educational event, The Family Pig, here at our Pacific Northwest homestead, over at FarmsteadMeatsmith.com, we host a purely digital membership program with an archive of film and textual resources years deep now, for you to dive deeper into your food journey with. And both our classes and online program include access to our private community Facebook page for your continued education and fellowship. We've been told that our classes are life-changing and the membership program unparalleled in quality and quantity. To get a taste of our education, search FarmsteadMeatsmith.com and our YouTube channel for our free films, conversations, and downloads. Explore how we and other meatsmiths across the globe may best come alongside you, putting the knife in your hand, article by article, and comment thread by comment thread, and can support you in building your home around the harvest. Please head to FarmsteadMeatsmith.com today. You're not equals. I mean, that would be a bad thing if you were like considering yourself a peer. You have to be in charge. Hierarchy is real. A necessity.
It is real.
Yeah.
And that's why involved. Eating meat is so brazen. It's an unequivocal assertion of my life, your life at the cost of mine. And that's what you're saying when you eat meat. Another sentient being. It is just that you die and I eat you. that I live at the cost of your life.
Yeah.
That's quite a claim.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like all we want to do today is try to relinquish ourselves from any cost we might be.
Right. Pass the buck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just see people all over the place trying no waste living, which there's something to be said for living economically and stewarding without waste, but
it's frequently commodified into not that.
Yeah.
And yeah, right. Yeah, you don't want to indulge in the illusion that you don't produce waste.
Yeah.
That's what you do. You are a burden to the earth every second you're on it. You are,
So produce something out of that.
Yeah.
Be fruitful. Yeah. You're reminding me also, didn't we get a meme recently? We've been talking about, you told me like a few weeks ago, you were like, I think we got our first meme.
Oh, one of our members might have created one.
Yeah. About particularly killing ruminants, I think.
Oh, I forgot how it went. But yeah.
I don't want to say it because I'll mess it up.
It's on funny. The Meatsmith table.
It was really funny.
Which is the closed group for our members.
Remember it was Neo?
Oh, from the Matrix. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you want to say it?
Was it it was like a 2-shot juxtaposed when Neo's like back in the barber chair getting the thing shot in his brain.
Yeah.
To learn Kung Fu.
Yeah.
Right.
And then he wakes up and he's like
I know Kung Fu. Yeah. I think so they replaced that with I know ruminant slaughter.
That's right.
Or something like that. After watching a harvest film. Which is great. That's the
good.
idea.
It did feel good because you're like, that's exactly what we were hoping.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can go do it after you watch that film.
Yeah.
Whew, all the hours I spent despising my own face while I was editing it are worth it. Truly, they really are. That's like, yes. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
That was fun.
Yeah.
So anything else this spring that's happening? I'm trying to milk it for what, it's kind of a hodgepodge we're talking about.
Grab bag.
There is so much that happens in spring.
Yeah.
I mean, this is when you are hoping to fill your time simultaneously with membership production, but also getting outside on our own property.
Yeah.
And
I need to start making firewood for next winter.
Firewood, you want to do your own poultry projects.
Yeah.
We're hoping to get some geese this spring, maybe.
Please, geese. I love geese.
We were attempting ducks this winter, but we timed it wrong because you were going to harvest them.
I was going to attempt to gavage them.
That's right. And then produce foie gras.
Right.
But they would have been harvested in November, which is the eye of the storm.
For my busy season.
Yeah. So do you think we can try that?
Yeah, they're still out there. Well, 4 of them are. We ate the others. Okay. Yeah. In fact, I think they're more mature, so they're getting more robust and bigger, which I think would be appropriate for that.
Oh, okay.
But I also think it's going to take some major duck whispering on my part.
Oh.
Which I knew anyway, which was kind of the point of exploring gavage myself, is to see, can I be the duck whisperer and do this politely? Because I'm positive. I know it's possible. But I think what I'm gathering just from my observation of these ducks is that they are of mallard descent. So, there's 2 basic sources of domestic duck. The mallards, which are migratory, have a strong herding, flocking instinct, and are flighty and a little dippy. In the sense that herding animals are. So it's not really dippy, but as individuals, a little bit. And then, so that's basically all the breeds of domestic duck come from that. And then there's one called the Muscovy, or the Barbary duck, that is, it's an Amazonian tree perching non-migratory duck. And that duck is totally different in temperament. It's super calm. Has a calm temperament. In fact, we've raised Muscovies for years. We don't have any right now, but when you walk out on the farm, they're so calm they're like you're walking into them. You're stepping on them. Like, can you get out of my way? Whereas mallard would never do that. They're all like fleeing from you to the opposite side and talking about it. They're all quacking at each other. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
Yeah.
It's like same thing I do every day, guys. But the Muscovies have that calm temperament, and in production foie gras farms where they're producing a lot, what they're using is a Mullard, which is a hybrid of the mallard and the muscovy.
I didn't know that. Okay.
And that gives them this hybrid. They're sterile because the muscovy and the mallard are too different to produce fertile offspring. They're mules, the Mullards. But that produces a hybrid vigor. They grow quick, and I believe that it also gives them a calm temperament. They get the muscovy temperament.
So they can gavage easier.
Okay. Because I know it's going to take some major duck whispering to get on good, friendly terms in such close proximity to mallard ducks.
Especially since you haven't been handling them forever. Right. They just have a really intense flight response. And so they don't fear the gavage, the stuffing at all. In fact, they're going to be hungry and desire it if I manage it properly. It's simply my proximity of a possible predator. And so when you start handling them and holding them, if they're just in a state of abject panic the whole time, it's not going to be possible. And so muscovies, that calmness, I think. So I might go back to muscovy. Oh,
we'll see.
Okay.
I don't want them because they fly, and so you can't.
That's right.
You can't manage their movements. At least the females do. The drakes are too big. They're extremely dimorphic. The drakes are like twice the size of the heads of the ducks. But because some foie gras farms are 100% muscovy, they're not even using the Mullard. It's just muscovy.
Yeah.
But I've never heard of a farm, small or large, that does mallard descent ducks exclusively for foie gras.
Okay.
Never heard of it. So if anyone knows if it exists, let me know. But I kind of doubt it. And I'm pretty sure it's because of that temperament. Even at industrial scale, if you have 1,000 ducks that are losing their minds every time someone walks in the barn, like you've got a problem.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
Yeah, you're right.
Just from the flight instinct.
Yeah.
And because they have such a strong flocking community, they freak each other out. They bounce off each other, and they get it compounds their agitation. When one starts quacking, they all start going.
Yeah.
It just escalates. So we'll see.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen though. I have the apparatus right here.
Oh, right.
Yeah. This is called an embook.
Okay. And there's really not a lot of good videos on it.
Nope.
Right?
That's why I have to do it.
That's right. That was the goal.
I'm going to figure it out on a home scale. And the reason I'm so attracted to it is because it takes this thing that is so often neglected in poultry, the liver, and it elevates it to something profound and sublime. Foie gras. It's a beautiful thing.
We should try to do it this year.
Yeah.
Well, you want to do geese. Can you do this with geese?
You can. I've read that it's more difficult.
Oh, okay.
The gavage takes a little longer.
Oh, right.
They actually have a smaller esophagus than ducks.
Okay.
Because they're grazers. Ducks are like swallowing banana slugs. Ducks are swallowing fish.
That's right.
The greylag, the Toulouse geese, not so much.
Okay.
They're like grazing.
That's true.
They're much more vegetarian than ducks, so their esophagus is accordingly smaller.
Interesting.
So you need a different embouque. But geese do have a better temperament than mallard ducks for it. They get used to you.
Right.
Whereas, mallard ducks are a little bit like sheep. They take a lot of whispering. They take lots of tender approaches to get them used to your presence. And until they get used to that gradual, getting accustomed to your presence, they think you're going to murder them. Always. It's like sheep. Like you are a wolf. You're standing upright, but you're a wolf. I'm gone. And they just think that forever. Unless they're bottle fed, unless you put in time with them, hand feed them, that'll really do it. But that's the herding animal psychology.
Yeah.
That's the way they are. And I think they're a little less that way if they're on their own, in which case you are more likely to become their herd, which helps. But that's the way they roll. And I feel like goats are a little different. They're more individual. They're more independent. And I think they just think you're another goat frequently, if they think of you at all, abstractly, which they don't. But they treat you like another goat. They follow,
Right.
Whereas sheep, they do follow the voice of their shepherd, that does, once they get used to him. But their default is to flee. And so unless you are the shepherd whose voice the sheep know, they're fleeing from you. Whereas goats are following you. And pigs are looking right at you. Like, yeah, I'm one of you. I got skin.
Yeah.
Lots of folds in my brain. And I eat everything. We're on the same level.
It's true. Yeah. Well, I think that's a wrap. That's a good episode.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for joining me again and chatting about the spring and what we've done, what our plans are. I hope that some of this may have struck a chord with you, our listener, and feel free to join the team if you want. The membership is always open now. We used to open it and close it and open it and close it, but it's just open all the time now. With a free trial if you just want to give it a try for 60 days. You can go to farmsteadmeatsmith.com/membership. That's right. There's just dozens of videos on there now. I mean, we're at that point. I wish we could show. So we accidentally put one of the videos up on YouTube publicly because they changed their interface and I clicked the wrong button and I'm supposed to make it private just for our members, but for like 2 hours it was exposed to everyone and we got like a ton of views right off the bat. And they're like, whoa, this is amazing. Because it was like a normal YouTube video. Like, I mean, these podcasts are great, but it's a different format. It's not like highly edited with lots of visuals, but this is what that was. And it was so exciting. People were, they're like, this is so cool. So anyway, we have all that, but it's behind membership. So, if you click on there, it'll just blow your mind away, hopefully. Like Neo, like, whoa. I know, everything. We've done a lot of the basic things on there. All of the slaughtering, butchering, basic curing is all on there. I think
for multiple species.
Exactly. All that's there. I mean,
on a domestic scale.
Yes.
Backyard.
Sure. Yeah. But we've talked about, I think the next frontier you'd like to explore more of is more of the culinary type stuff. Yeah. Putting it to work in the kitchen. Yeah. Which we've actually started doing. There's a lot. There's already still a lot there up there already to that end. But more refined finesse stuff like the phenolore and the tartare and kind of getting it from the product to your mouth. That whole process.
That's usually that can be more difficult than actually curing the meat.
That's true.
The curing is actually really simple.
Yeah.
It's crazy simple. Yeah. Sometimes the hardest thing is integrating it into your meals. Yeah. Oddly enough, it sounds crazy, but it is. It's true.
Talk a little bit about, you're reminding me what we were just talking about earlier today. how we've had a few members and they read all of our descriptions for, let's say, like killing a pig or killing this or that. And the most surprising thing, like they question themselves, right? They're like, so am I doing it right? And they're actually, well, tell me about that. It's been on Facebook, some of these questions.
Yeah. The hardest thing, I think, for people to learn if they endeavor to slaughter their own animals or raise them at home or take any step back on that food chain under their own prowess, is not all the steps.
Exactly.
It's to actually believe that I am not lying.
I am doing this.
When I say that it's simple.
Yeah.
It really is.
This is happening.
Yeah. And it's actually hard for people sometimes to accept that they've done it. Or like the hardest thing to believe is that it's simple. The hardest thing to do is to accept that you did it.
Or sometimes because it's their first time,
right?
So
they have no context.
There was some challenges, and they're like, "Oh, I did it wrong," just because there were these challenges.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this is the learning curve, and you did it. And next time it'll be even smoother because you've worked through those challenges.
Yeah. So when I read the accounts, it's great. People will write up accounts of their first pig slaughter or something. It'll start with. Sometimes, like I had problems, and then they tell the whole account, and I've gotten to the end of it, and I'm like, I didn't see the problem. I think you did very well.
That was just a normal day's work.
It is toil, it's work, and you just keep refining it. You do get better and better, and you start to acquire the experience that helps you be informed about what is just going to be hard, or toilsome every time. There's just a few steps that are like, dang, every time that's hard. Dragging a dead pig uphill will always be hard. Towing one with a winch, however, not so hard. But that's, But
the doubt,
the
doubt begins to go away.
The more you do it,
the more you're building confidence.
Yeah. The cool thing to watch is how people like me, who had zero experience, nothing agrarian, which is exactly what I am, and they just do it. And like their first time, it's pretty excellent. Like, they really nailed it, And they're working with nothing. Relatively speaking, they're working with nothing. They have a 55-gallon drum and a propane burner and a chain hoist and like 4 knives. And they sharpened them for the first time. Like the first time they've ever sharpened a knife. And they do it, and they lay the sides down in a freezer, in a chest freezer. And then they shut the lid, and then they go to bed, and the next day they get the side out of the chest freezer and butcher it and make sausage, and they do it. They do it well. That's the crazy thing, is they do it very well. If they if we could see us noobs, us rookies doing this in our backyard, the waste, the mistakes, the behind the curtain of more industrial production, we are artisans. If we're going to compare. It's even with a janky setup, even if you're dragging the pig on a tarp, I'm sorry, the quality of your work is, it is artisan.
It's true.
It is the best. When you're curing that ham, at home with your salt, even if you oversalt it a little bit, if you walked through a ham making factory, you would think, oh, yeah, no, I got this. Like, I do this way better than that.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well, hopefully we can meet some of you guys inside the membership. And I think that's a wrap.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us, Meatsmith listeners. And I hope you're having a good spring wherever you're at. And we'll go before too many more iPhone bells go off. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. You can receive updates on all our brand new content as it's released by signing up for our email newsletter. Free download of Brandon's thoughts on meat cookery included. Go to farmsteadmeatsmith.com and sign up on the homepage. Thanks again for listening, and keep in touch.